People come from all walks of life. They all have lives they lead. Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Today I have a returning guest. He's been here once before. It's my pleasure to welcome back retired fine arts teacher, Patrick Stedman. Welcome back to the show.
Hi there, Nancy.
How you doing?
I'm just doing fine. I'm not enjoying the smoke moving in, but
Yeah.
oh well.
Yeah, nothing we can do about it at the moment, right?
No.
At least we're here and not where
Yeah.
the fires are happening, which is really sad.
Exactly.
So last time you were on, we didn't get a chance to talk about the fact that you were an original member of, Public Art Advisory Committee for Chilliwack.
That's correct.
Okay, so tell me about that. I don't know anything about it.
The Public Art Advisory Committee was set up by the City of Chilliwack City Council in 2014.
Okay.
And they were given a sculpture from the CADREB, the Chilliwack and District Real Estate Board, who had commissioned a sculpture to celebrate their 50th anniversary, I believe it was. And they wanted to put it, their suggestion was in the middle of Salish Pond, outside of the hotel.
Right.
That city property. So it has to go through approval. So now the city is faced with, what do we do with this? So best practices from other jurisdictions, Vancouver, Surrey, etc., was to set up this committee.
Okay.
So people were invited to join this committee under the leadership at that time of Stuart McLean, a councilman. And so we dealt with, what do we do with this sculpture?
Well, how did you get on the committee?
The committee was to consist of certain individuals from the community. They wanted, one moment, I have it written here.
Okay.
They wanted 2 practicing artists, a community member at large who wouldn't be able to vote, a member of the Chilliwack Arts Council, a member of the Chilliwack Cultural Society, 2 art-related professionals, me being one, a member of council, which at the time was Stuart McLean, and a city staff person, Carolyn Marlowe. So we had to, first of all, deal with the sculpture, what to do with it.
Right.
We did not, our first stumbling block was, it doesn't matter whether you like or dislike the piece of work. Does it fit criteria? Is it appropriate? Things like that.
Right.
That was the first stumbling block, because a few individuals, well, I don't like it. Well, that doesn't really matter. That's not for us to say.
Yeah.
So we all agreed that we did not like it being in the middle of Salish Pond. Salish Pond has First Nations overtones. It's got the First Nations post. It didn't need this. Also, a sculpture, you should be able to enjoy the positive and negative space, the open spaces, the shadows. Well, that was not going to happen in the middle of a pond.
Yeah.
So our suggestion was in front of the cultural center, which is where it got installed. So that was our first task. And then we had to write language, terms of reference. A lot of it was lifted from other jurisdictions, but we had to go through it and understand how it works. A lot of it has to do with the city itself and city government,
Right.
Engineering, things of that nature. So we headed off from there. After that sculpture, Sylvie Roussel Jansen, are you familiar with her work?
No.
Sylvie Roussel, she's shown at the Cultural Center.
Okay.
She wanted to do an installation along a fence on Yale Road. So, and that went through approval, and that was temporary. We got approached by the city itself with the idea that all these electrical hydro boxes around the city, these ugly greeny gray things.
Yes.
They're prone to graffiti.
Yeah.
And studies have shown that if you cover them, if you put artwork on them or something like that, the graffiti artists will usually shy away from it. So we got into these vinyl wraps. And at first there were only so many allowed through a grant, I believe it was. And so we chose things to do with Chilliwack, blueberries, corn,
Right.
things of that nature.
Oh, so that's how that came about. Really interesting.
At the library, we wanted something involving books. So they found an image of books on shelves or something like that, which was used. At the cultural center, we asked that they use photos from productions that had taken place at the cultural center.
Right. Very fitting.
Somewhere, pardon me?
Make it to be very fitting for the whatever the venue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Once that program got going, we've wiped our hands, or they don't bother coming and getting our approval or our suggestions anymore, other than we wanted some historical. And that is in the works now in the downtown area.
So this committee still exists, right?
Oh, good heavens, yes. We meet once a month or as is necessary. There are various, the roundabouts.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of our first big projects, was the roundabout on Evans Road.
Right.
And that was a controversial choice, but we vote, and whichever submission gets the most votes is what is submitted to City Council.
So just a quick question. What happens if, say, the general public don't like that decision of whatever that piece of art where it is or where it's placed? Do they get heard at all?
I'm not really sure about that. Our process is a lot of the work comes from an RFP. The city wants to do something or has a suggestion to do something, and an RFP is a request for proposal.
Okay.
It used to be called sending out for tender.
Right. Okay.
And so a request for proposal is created, and that's part of our job, is making suggestions as to what we would like to see or what it might involve. We did a survey for Canada 150 Mosaic, which is now on the side of the cultural center facing the swimming pool. The survey asked, what does Chilliwack mean to you? And we had to come up with 3 themes: corn, mountains, and fish. So that's what we worked with. That's what was submitted. And that's what the artist created with what the community involved. Did you go and paint a square?
You talk to me?
Yeah.
Paint the square where?
For that mosaic.
Oh, no.
The community, anybody could go, and they held it over a few days. You could go to the landing and paint a square.
I don't know if I was aware of it for whatever reason.
They advertised it, but at any rate, it got created.
Right.
But that was, okay, there's public input. We're sensitive to First Nations issues. And let's say a mural is being done. If it has First Nations imagery in it, we don't go forward with it unless a First Nations person is involved with the production of it.
Good, yeah.
We came across that with a mural on a restaurant facing Central Elementary in Central Park. And they had some First Nations imagery, but they also had a person with First Nations heritage involved with it. So,
Makes
okay,
sense.
good.
Yeah.
At Five Corners, that was an RFP. The big mural that went up that was painted by Davis Graham. There were many submissions that we had to go through, and we presented 3 to council, and his was the one that was chosen. It was our top pick.
Right.
And again, it had some First Nations imagery and a sun symbol, which he has a little bit in his family. So that seemed to pass.
Good.
The mural festival downtown, Amber came and gave a presentation, which she got some backing from the city and our approval, go for it. And that has now been handed over to the DIA, downtown, is it?
Downtown Business Association, yeah.
Yes, that group. They oversee that, and that's led by Trevor McDonald, I believe now,
Right.
who is also on our committee.
Oh, okay, very good.
Our committee has grown from day one.
So how many
and it has-
members? Sorry.
We have about 12 or more now.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody participates. Myself and Ryan Huston of Huston Architects. He's an original as well.
Okay.
We had a few of our artists bowed out. They were frustrated by the process, I think.
Right.
They wanted to have input in what it looked like, and rightly so. Their comments were valuable. However, we don't have that power. That's not for us to do.
Right.
We've done, again, the Evans Road roundabout with the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of controversy over that. Lots of people like it. We had some lovely submissions, but again, you vote and you make a choice. Right now at Five Corners,
Right.
the council didn't like our submission and they sent it back. Well, we turned around and went through the process again, and it was again the top choice, and it got sent back to council, and they went with it.
It must be difficult to get, make those decisions, right? To get down to the final, whatever the final choice is. It can't be easy, I would think.
Well, again, you can't say, oh, I wish they would do it like this.
Yeah.
They should add, you can't do that. You have to just take it as it is. For the Five Corners, we had 10 submissions. Engineering eliminated 6 of them.
Oh, okay.
And I would say rightly so, because if you consider the location at Five Corners with a lot of foot traffic,
Right.
people could climb on them, fall into it, any number of things, safety hazards.
Right.
Wind has to be considered in that intersection. Various things.
Yeah.
The a roundabout at Cultus on the way to Cultus Lake at the Vetter Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
We held a call out for artists to submit things for painting the underside of the bridge, because that was already starting to get tagged by graffiti.
Right.
So there were a mural thing happened for that. And then the roundabout was handed over to the First Nations people to oversee. Originally, it was to have water, like a waterfall, a water curtain falling from the round ring.
Right.
Well, we saw hazards with that, with wind blowing water. It's on the way to Cultus Lake, people with their convertibles, they'll get a car splashed full of water if the wind is going. Wintertime. But otherwise, that was handed over to them to do.
Right. Right.
We did roundabouts on Prest Road.
Mm-hmm.
And those were donated. We had no budget, or the budget was very limited. And we put a call out for people to donate old farm machinery, of which we got 4 submitted and we used 3. A tractor at Chilliwack, Prairie Central and Prest Road. And then at Bailey and Prest, we did an old tractor pulling a hay cutter, which was appropriate for that corner.
Right.
Because at that corner is the Bailey Hay Farm,
Yeah.
which has been there for decades.
Right.
So it's sort of an homage to an industry that happens there.
Yeah. How cool is that, eh?
Oh, yeah. And that, again, those were donated.
Right. Very good. I can imagine just all the things you have to consider, right? Like I said, the location and what's happening at that location. And we get a lot of wind, obviously, in this area of town anyway, right?
Yep.
So
Yes.
yeah, I can see some of that. Just thinking about when you're talking about the things that were done. Years ago, when I was living in Lachine in Montreal,
Yes.
the city, I don't know how it came about, but they had all the fire hydrants painted in such a way that they looked like figures. They were still very
Yes.
identifiable as fire hydrants, but it was so awesome to see them. I
Yes.
loved that,
Well, that is a possibility, something that could happen. Right now, they have a call out for things that can be done in our parks.
Okay.
They're calling them organic. I don't quite understand what they mean by it being organic, but things that could be attached to lampposts. So
Right.
we're looking see what will happen there. There's an RFP going out for the roundabout on Lickman Road, of which we want something tall and maybe something with a kinetic element, something that moves with the
Yeah.
wind or what have you.
Yeah.
We can't say we want a weather vane,
Yeah.
but a kinetic something, but who knows what'll come out of that.
So it's
a mystery.
exciting in a way, right?
Banners,
Yes.
you may have noticed banners.
Mm-hmm.
We put a call out for artists to submit designs for banners that could be hung from lampposts.
Right.
And we got a lot of submissions, but the controversy was this hand done by an artist or was this computer generated? So we had to redo the call out. We wanted more hand done. Then we got the controversy over the rainbows, and some things had too many rainbow things going on in it, and we had to tone that down a little.
Right.
And we ended up with 4 that we were happy with, and those got printed and put up. The printing is very cheap,
Mm-hmm.
costs a minimal amount.
Nice.
It costs a fortune to put it up because you have to have flag people.
Right.
You have to have a truck with the scissor lift.
Yeah.
You need a driver. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
So a $4 banner ends up costing $400 to install.
Right.
It's something that you learn along the way.
Right.
And things move very slowly.
Oh, that's why some people would quit.
Yes. 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 You learn you have to be patient.
Right.
Things, they unfold slowly.
Right. Yeah.
But since 2014, from starting with no budget, it has increased where the city recognizes the importance of public art. And they won't give us an exact dollar figure, but it's quite healthy.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
A goal is if you want to do a development, a percentage of the cost of the development goes towards public art. Either you have to do it financially by giving it to the city for that purpose,
Mhm.
or you have to produce it on site yourself.
Wow.
That would be an ultimate goal. That's what Vancouver does, Surrey. We're still young.
So it's
We've got a ways to go.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome that you look to other cities to see what they're doing or how they're getting their needs met, whatever, right?
Oh, yes. I guess it's called best practices.
Mm-hmm.
And Chilliwack doesn't like to go into debt.
Good.
So that's one best practice from other jurisdictions that Chilliwack avoids.
Right.
So that's why it's slow, but it's happening. And currently right now, Amber Price has got tremendous mural activity happening in the downtown area, which should be a draw,
Mm-hmm.
for people.
Yeah.
The new development at Five Corners as well.
Right.
So we're getting public art happening.
Very good. I just thought of another thing that I saw when I was in Vienna, the living statues. So anytime,
Oh, yeah.
right? Those public squares where people meet. And these people are awesome that are on those pedestals.
Yes.
So you really do look like statues, and you go up to them and somebody will move or do something to shock you, you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
That's another cool thing, but I think again, hard to do. The stamina.
Well, the potential is there for that,
Yeah.
you know, but again, we're still a small city.
Yes.
Time will come. It'll happen.
Yeah.
We've asked for the city to, or for developers to engage in, if you're going to do a bicycle rack, there is a catalog that you can go to get more creative bicycle racks without having to,
Oh.
you know, it's just easier to put in a plain Jane.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
You want a bench? Well, there are some very creative benches available.
Right.
Playground equipment. Well, the city chooses from a big catalog. That's, you know, to get the variety.
Yeah.
So there are things that, you know, developers can do to put in some public art, so to speak, some interest
I think that's
on
wonderful.
their own.
Yeah. I think that's an awesome idea.
And our focus is what happens on public land,
Right.
not so much on private property.
Right. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Again, and that again was hashed out in the first few years of the committee was, well, what jurisdiction do we have? Oh, somebody's gone and painted a mural on the side of their business. Well, they could have painted the wall purple, you know,
Yeah.
but they happen to use a number of different colors to paint the wall.
Right.
No, that doesn't involve us. So it's evolving.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's evolving really well. I think you've got to, like, some of the people you have named that I know personally, and I think they're really good, obviously really good movers and shakers for the city of Chilliwack, and very involved. I think that's all wonderful. I'm glad that there is that committee that you are with, right? So that's really great. You know, I think Chilliwack is, like, just since I've lived here, which is since 1995, there's been so many wonderful changes taking place.
Yes.
And I think,
Oh, yes.
wonderful, right?
We're a growing city.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up to it. Right?
Yeah, well, that's true. With any growing place, right? It's
Yes.
possible, almost impossible to keep up. Geez.
And these committees, that the council strikes, people can apply to be on them.
Oh, I see. Yes. Because I think I had somebody else before, like, how do you get on these committees? And that's what they said. They apply for them. And it's like, oh, okay, I got it. I get it. You know,
They give you, I don't know, a 1-year tenure or whatever, and they just ask, would you like to continue?
right.
And I just, oh, sure. You know,
It's nice.
it's what I did for a career, so
Yeah. Well,
it's of interest.
especially that in your case. Yeah. And I think it would be nice to look back at some point and tell your grandchildren or whoever, hey, I was a part of that committee that made that decision for that artwork or whatever like that, right? I think that would feel good.
I'm personally proud of the farm equipment.
Are you?
At the time, Ken Popoff was a councilman, and he was the assistant leader of the group
Okay.
with Sue Attrell at the time, or Sue Knott.
Yeah.
And both he and I were pushing for, well, why aren't we pushing agriculture? Why can't we put out some old farm equipment?
Yeah.
And then when that happened, a few members, well, we need to paint it. No, it doesn't look like it's supposed to be on a for sale lot at the John Deere dealer.
Right.
No, just leave it the patina the way it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's a nod to what made Chilliwack,
Yeah,
the agriculture.
for sure.
There's still a roundabout at Chilliwack Central on Prest,
Yeah.
but that is really cluttered with hydro poles.
No, let's just say, for instance, the city wanted something done to the hydro poles. I don't mean removing them, but painting them. Does hydro, you have to go to hydro for that, right?
Yes, hydro owns the poles.
Right, okay.
Yeah. If it's a street post, a light post,
Yes,
you know, like so many on the streets,
yeah.
that city,
Mhm.
you know, those hydro poles are along the hydro.
Yeah,
They normally don't leave hydro poles in a roundabout, but it's cost efficient to do it that way.
oh, okay,
And a lot of people don't like anything being in a roundabout. Well, statistically, no, the vision needs to be blocked so that you can't see through to the oncoming.
yes,
It forces you to look to the left to see what traffic is coming.
right.
A lot of people know it's stupid to put anything there. Well, no, sorry, that's statistics prove otherwise,
Right.
right?
Yeah, I think just it's that personal, whoever said no, it shouldn't be there. That's just their personal opinion, obviously, right?
And a lot of, quite often it's people that they don't like tax dollars being used for things like this.
Right. I think that's a shame. Yeah.
Well,
Personally, I think it's a shame, but that's just a personal opinion.
Mhm.
Right.
Exactly. That's where you want to have somebody who, if they're building an apartment building and it's going to be $20 million to build it, well, a small percentage of the $20 million, sort of like a tax levy,
Yeah.
that goes to public art. So the taxpayer isn't footing the bill,
Right. That's the difference. Yeah.
you
I
know,
think that makes a big difference.
and that's down the pipe because that's a bylaw that has to be written and created,
Right.
and we don't want to scare development away,
Mm-hmm.
right?
For
So
sure.
like need it.
Yeah.
We need the employment, etc. So
Yeah. Right.
we'll be patient.
Well, with that, now speaking of patient, we're out of time.
Okay.
I really appreciate you coming back on the show and informing us all of this stuff, because it's all like I see the work, but I didn't know how it came about. And I'm sure a lot of other people didn't know how it came about. So I really appreciate you doing that with me.
Well, it's well regulated by the city.
Very good. Very
People
good.
watch the lie.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks, Patrick. I appreciate that. And thank
Okay,
you.
Nancy.
All right. And thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from Patrick on this this interview, and hope to see you again. Until then, everybody, peace out.
Peace out.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.